We talked about Ireland when you were on the show, I think a year ago.
Yes.
And you mentioned the cottage now, and you have an interesting relationship with Ireland.
Yes, I do.
And you live in Canada, moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
You go back every year for these retreats you do.
Yeah.
You just mentioned the cottage, but you know you don't belong there, or maybe you do.
I belong in Ireland.
You do.
100%.
Then why aren't you there?
Because I feel I need to be away for the moment. Some people say it's a sacrifice. I needed to leave Ireland, and as corny as cliche as it sounds, I needed to leave the place I love beyond anything to reinvent myself, to find, to get away from the constraints, from the expectations, oh my God, expectations. Expectations on self and expectations on others. I mean, if and that comes down to because we don't really have a great relationship often with ourselves. We put these overwhelming expectations. And no matter whatever we achieve, it's never enough. But going back to the Ireland thing, I've really, in the last year, and even since you and I spoke last, but in the last year, Ireland has come back into my soul, and it's just I can't get it out. It's who I am. It's everything I am.
It's no coincidence that you take people there on a retreat to connect with themselves, and you take them and show them the beautiful West Coast, and you take them to the pubs, and you take them on the walks. You obviously love it, but I feel like you know it's not time to go back yet.
It's not. I'll share something else that's come up in recent times, and it's not because of Donald Trump. 6-7 years ago, I stood on a stage in Calgary, and I talked about goal setting, which was a bigger part of what I believed at the time. And I'm not against goal setting. The challenge with a lot of goal setting is often we create goals that are intellectually based, and often, therefore, they're not necessarily fundamentally aligned with who we are as an individual. They're what we want to do, but we're not necessarily a reflection of who we are. And I remember standing on stage and I said, I have these goals, and I've got an Everest, I've got a base camp type thing. I use the mountain analogy. I just love mountains. I've got an Everest in the distance, and you can see, this is on YouTube. It's under Philip McKernan comes out, literally. And I said, I've got an Everest in the distance. And I wasn't setting this little seed for somebody in the audience to shout out, what is it? And I'm just going to the next thing, and somebody shouts out, what is it? And I was not prepared for this. I went, oh no, it's crazy, it's out there, it's whatever. It's nuts. And the crowd starts shouting and wanting to know. And this has only come up in the last, say, 7-8 weeks since I did my retreat in Ireland, actually. And my heart is pounding right now. And I just said, fuck it. I said, why not? I said, I want to be president of Ireland. So in 2025, I want to be president of Ireland. And just in case you don't know or you do know, I don't like politics. I don't believe in politics. I don't think politics change the world. I think people do. People might say, well, aren't politicians people? I say, well, yeah, they are. But I think the only world that really we need to change is our own. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. I mean, by changing our own world and our environment, I think by osmosis, we change so many other people around us. So the presidency for me represents, but I'm not attached to it. I don't need it. I used to, 7 years ago when I announced this, I thought I needed it because I was so insecure in my own skin, because I didn't have an education, I didn't have a letter after my name, I dyslexic, couldn't read and write, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to use the presidency, the office of Ireland, to promote the country. And I don't mean promote in a marketing way, but to inspire the country, inspire the world. And I think if I say it now, some people will judge me. Well, people judge me all the time. I get a lot of nasty emails. But if I say it out loud and throw the dream out there, it might encourage other people to actually do the same. To say, okay, I may not want to be president of Ireland, but what is my president? What is my president of Ireland? Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a conversation, maybe I'm going to do a podcast, maybe I'm going to write my first book, maybe I'm going to do a speech, whatever it happens to be. So if I get a lot of ridicule for creating an inspirational environment, so be it.
So you're actually going to be president?
2025.
Okay.